Hey, fellow Super Duty owners. I'm going to do my February truck update in this video. Alright, so for those of you that watched my January truck update, it was very lengthy and long-winded because I was essentially covering everything that's done to the truck since it was manufactured. I obviously bought it used at around 49,000 miles. It now has close to 88,000 miles, so we're going to do a mileage check-in. We're going to talk about what maintenance I've done so far this month since my last check-in, and we're going to talk about the modifications that I've done. Stay tuned till the end to see what I did. All right, I should probably put my beer down, but we are going to check the mileage on this bad Larry. So, you can see the odometer right there. We're about 88,885.5. I should have driven around the block a little bit more to get it to 88888888, but that's what we got. We're closing in on 90,000 miles, so I have a bunch of big service items coming up that I will talk about in a moment. Since my last video, I have fiddled with the tire pressure quite a bit, but the only maintenance item I have really done since then was I changed my transfer case fluid using the Mercon LV. I got one of the pumps from AutoZone, and I think it was like, they say it's 1.9 quarts is the capacity, but you fill it up to the top level because they're on the transfer case. There's the top drain plug and then the bottom drain plug, and the top is really just to fill. The bottom is obviously to drain. Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, actually. So that was the only real service I did. I've also been fiddling with my tire pressure quite a bit because, as you'll see here, I am getting wear across the top. Now, these currently are at about 40 PSI. I'm probably going to go back. Like, I've been going back and forth between going to like 35 PSI, which I like the ride quality is nice, but it also just feels like mushy. And again, this is unloaded. I'm not running 40 PSI when I'm towing a trailer. I usually will put it up to the door sticker, or I'll put it at like 60 PSI front and rear. But I am currently running for pressure 40 in the back and 50 in the front. And I think I'm gonna drop it to 35 in the back and 45 in the front as like the cold inflation temperature. Now, in terms of maintenance, like I said, transfer case, I am going to be due for an oil change, another 1,000 miles, but I'm using AMSOIL synthetic. And so I don't stress too much about hitting it right at 5,000 miles, but I want to give a shout out to you folks in the comments. I forget the name of the individual, but they suggested that I change the transfer case fluid and the transmission fluid sooner than later, as opposed to doing it every 100,000 miles as I had suggested in my maintenance interval video. So thank you for chipping in. I love being part of a community like that where people will kind of tell you, hey, you should consider this. And you know, they're not a dick about it, so thank you. All right, so modifications. Here's what I've changed. I took off the long antenna, the OEM factory antenna, and I put this Built-Right stubby antenna on. It is not the 50 cal bullet. I think it looks really good on the truck. Obviously, I'm going for a little bit more meaty look with the tires and the 18s and all that, so this kind of helps with that a little bit. So if we go back into the truck, here, I actually, just 2 days ago, I reflashed and reset my powertrain control module, my transmission control module, and I reset the transmission adaptive learning tables. Now, why would you do that, you might ask? And that is a great question. I didn't even know those things existed. A few days ago, I was deep in the Super Duty forums, and people were talking about having like sloppy shifting, and I had noticed that my truck going from 5th to 6th had kind of been jumping back and forth. It wasn't slipping, the transmission wasn't slipping, and it wasn't shifting super hard, but it's like the transmission didn't know which gear to be in when I got to 50 miles an hour. It would like go up to 6th and then down to 5th and then maybe go back up to 6th. Like, it wasn't sure. And so what I found was, if you buy a used vehicle, and this can be any vehicle outside of Ford, the vehicle will keep a log or a table of all the shifts that the vehicle has done, and it uses that information to perform better for you, the driver. So it basically takes into account all the inputs and is like, okay, I'm gonna try to predict when to shift based on what I know about previous shifts and the driving habits of the user that I've had in the truck. And so what my theory was, hey, this truck was used. I bought it at 49,000 miles. There was another driver with different habits driving this before me. And so the truck has 49,000 miles of that other driver and their habits in its memory bank. And so resetting the transmission adaptive learning table cleared all that and let me reteach the transmission, hey, this is how I drive, this is how I shift. So that resetting that table has been huge. And if enough people want, I can do a video on how you can do it in Forescan, and then I can also talk about the benefits that I've gotten from it. But it's only been a few days and it's already massive. So then obviously, in addition to resetting the adaptive learning table in the computer, I reset the powertrain control module and then the transmission control module. And you want to do that if you're changing tire sizes or if you're changing any of the powertrain inputs. So for instance, I've started running, since I've bought the truck, I've run the Arch Oil fuel additive, I've been running a cold air intake, and by resetting it, it now can relearn from scratch the new inputs that I have put on the truck and the things that I've changed, in the hopes that, you know, obviously this program will make the truck run better. I'm not sure if this fits, what I did fits into the category of being a modification or a maintenance item. Honestly, I think it's more of a mod, because you're not just gonna regularly reflash your PCM, TCM and clear that table. But if you bought a truck used, or if your truck that you bought new, maybe, you know, it had like 100 miles on it before you got it, you should consider, if you're having issues with your trans, or if you did, and even any sort of like aftermarket, like tire modifications, cold air intake, you know, maybe, you know, obviously I'm talking about like stock trucks, not tuned and deleted trucks, right? I have my emission stuff on. I'm doing the most OEM fitment mods that I can, like the SMB cold side pipe and things like that, that you can just bolt on and it's not going to change. Like, you don't have to retune the computer, right? But if you are having trouble with how your truck is shifting or behaving, resetting those inputs could be huge. Thank you for watching this video. It was a little shorter than the last one. That's by design. I'm going to be on a monthly cadence, so next month in March I'll have some more updates. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all you guys being here. I want to build a community of people who are trying to maintain their trucks, and you know, I appreciate suggestions and any input that people leave in the comments. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time.